Hello, America. It's time to check the nonsense at the door, clear the cobwebs between your ears, and have a rational-ish conversation. This is the lost art of common sense.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the lost art of common sense. And today we will be talking about inflation.
That's right, the inflation sensation maliciously consuming the nation, discussed right here, right now on the lost art of common sense. Take it away, Kevin.
What the fuck was that?
Enthusiasm. That's what that was.
Who's that enthusiastic about inflation?
Well, I'm enthusiastic about talking about inflation so everybody knows how bad it is. It gets their attention. It's like, oh, they're really jacked up to talk about inflation.
Yeah, I guess we are.
We are now.
We definitely are. I am jazzed, man. I'm going to take a drink of beer.
Me too. And you're welcome, Kevin. You're welcome.
Cheers, man. That was good. That was, well, Josh scripted it. I had no idea that was coming. So you're welcome, America, for us being ridiculous. Josh, talking about inflation, the sensation, as you put it, what do you think is causing inflation? What's factors that you think are contributing to us paying so much for everything?
Well, I was kind of thinking about this today, and like, obviously, the one main thing that causes inflation, in general, is having like, I guess I wouldn't say it's too many dollars. I guess that's what it is, though. You have like excess of your currency in the market to goods, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
Like, you pump more of your currency in so people can buy more, so actual demand goes up, supply goes down, and that makes stuff more expensive, which makes your dollar worth less. And I also, I think in the inflation we're suffering now, that is a huge thing to do with it. And then you also have supply chain issues. We have just straight up, there's a supply shortage on everything because we can't get stuff in. Like, you don't hear about it in the news anymore, but did they ever resolve all the stuff going on in California?
No. Pretty much, like, I think they worked like one extra weekend on the docks, and that was it. So
to take care of like 6 months of backed up ships.
Yeah. I mean, they put a little extra time in. I don't think they're running 24/7, which they should be. I think they're only doing 8 hours, probably, maybe 10, 12 at most.
Well, and I also heard a big thing to do with the supply shortage in California, which I don't know if they're either thinking about passing it or they passed it to where a lot of trucks do not meet like the emissions requirements for California to drive on California roads, and no one's going to buy the new trucks because they're changing it again like in 2030 or something that has to be.
Yes. So I think it's 2030. They have to change it, even the emission standards even more, to where no one's going to buy a new truck right now that
like they don't manufacture a truck right now that you can buy that is going to meet the standards in like 2030.
Yes, correct. Yep. So no one's buying a truck right now because their emission standards are already ridiculous, and they're putting more restrictions on it. So no one's actually buying new trucks. So there's like less trucking from the docks.
Yeah, and I mean that will cause inflation because you're creating an artificial gap in the market.
Yeah, and so I agree with all those that you said. The big one is, I think, too much money. The fact that we printed 80% of the currency ever printed.
Yeah, the country's history of currency
in the last 3 years. So that'll do it.
I would say that's probably the biggest contributor, for sure.
Yeah, government spending is a huge. It's just dumb.
Yeah, I think ever since we got off the gold standard, which I think Nixon did that, didn't he?
Yeah, it's because we started, we were printing too much. We already had too much money to back it against gold, to where I think it actually would have decreased the value of the dollar.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now, if we were gold backed, our currency would be great. But I don't think there's enough gold in
There's
the
not enough
country to cover
gold in
that.
there's not enough gold in the solar system right now to cover what we've printed in the last three years.
We'll just back it by unobtainium.
Yeah, it's basically backed by just I don't even know
Well,
what it's
I know
backed
it's
by.
backed by the economy. Like that's
Yeah.
what our, and that's why that's another reason why things are so bad right now because our economy is like not
What
good.
what are you talking about?
Well, there's
If
just
it wasn't for inflation, we'd have the best economy from what somebody printed in the New York Times.
yeah. If it wasn't for the thing we did that actually is keeping people from working.
If it wasn't for the main thing about the economy, that if that didn't exist, then our economy would be great.
Well, that's what ticks me off though, because like we never get any real numbers. Like they say, oh, unemployment's down. If you have
If I wasn't ugly, I'd be handsome.
exactly, if I had $1 million, I'd be a millionaire. But
Yes.
like, if you have an able-bodied person who just decides to stop working, like because they can, because there are way too many safeguards that, like we said before, all about helping somebody out to get back on their feet, not to cradle them to their grave. Uh, then they should still be counted. The reason they fix the numbers is because, oh well, this person just flat out gave up on looking for a job, so we're just not going to count them anymore. And everybody does it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not like it's
It's
a
not
one
just a
sided thing.
strictly Democrat thing, but like it's all they're all manipulated numbers, and it's same thing with that. What the heck did they call it? Something easing. It's something the Fed does.
Lies.
Well, I know that.
It's a word for lying.
No, it's a term, and it's easing. Something easing.
I don't know what it is.
I don't either. I knew it earlier, and I forgot.
Well, I
I count on our audience to understand what I mean when I don't say the words.
let us know what it is
If I
because
randomly blurt it out later, it's because it popped into my head.
just let us know what it is because I have no idea.
It's a way of
Josh is gonna give
manipulating the
me.
economy.
Well, I mean, they're always going to fudge the numbers. It's
Yeah.
like polling data.
No, all polls are 100% unmanipulated and true.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
why they're
mean,
all different.
yes. Um, COVID had a big thing to do with it, I think, too. I mean, with inflation because of lockdowns.
Well, there's a
So
bunch of money going out through unemployment. Like, even if it's not like, say, the stimulus checks that went out, if you have a bunch of money going out through unemployment and stuff like that, that isn't being, the money you're getting paid and you're spending isn't being generated or created in the economy. So you're technically adding money into the economy. So it's just extra dollars on top of extra dollars. That's why the whole idea of like, let's make minimum wage $100 an hour and everyone will be a millionaire. Well,
yeah,
yeah, they would be, and we'd be like, our dollar would be worth less than the peso.
we'd be worse than where we're at right now. That's one thing about the minimum wage I don't agree with is that people just act like these companies are just going to accept a $15 minimum wage and not raise their prices. Like they're going to adjust their profits to overhead. So they're going to increase the price of their products to make sure that they're still in the was it the black? Is that what
Yes.
it is? Yes, still in the black. So
Well, and they just don't do
if
that. They'll cut back on, they either cut back on staffing and then they go automated. I mean, like, I think McDonald's is the only one that has it right now. But where you walk in and you can order at the kiosk.
yeah, I think they almost have. I think one McDonald's actually went almost fully automated.
Like, even robots are making the hamburgers?
Yes,
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm almost positive I read that somewhere. It wasn't here. It's like over in Europe or something that it went fully automated, and it sounded pretty cool. But again, I mean, that's going to really hurt well people.
Well, and that's
But I
what
mean,
I don't do. If people think, if you think you're going to be sitting around in your house and having a comfortable life doing absolutely nothing, at some point it's going to bite you in the ass, and you might be sitting around doing nothing, but your life's going to be shit. I guess maybe if you're hooked into the metaverse, then maybe you can pretend your life's okay as you're running around as
VR in it, like Ready Player One, like your life's total shit, except for if you're in the whatever
yeah.
the hell they called it in that movie.
What? Ohio? Columbus, Ohio?
Well, I mean, they were in Columbus, but I don't remember what the actual.
The Stacks.
Well, no, the VR area. It
Oasis.
was Oasis.
I
Yes,
love that
that's
movie, and I think it'd be super cool to have something like the Oasis, but it would be fun to spend like an hour or so in there messing around, and then I would get out because I have a real life and don't require VR or video games to
the problem I had with that movie was
enrich my life.
I watched it that I saw like people in the street wearing VR goggles. I'm like, how do people just not get hit?
I know. How did they not? Well, I see. I think.
Was there like a perimeter thing to where people think? Like,
See, in the movie, at least the one main characters, you can actually see through your visor, which I think would make for a horrible gaming experience.
I think he would get very confused.
It's like, oh, I'm fighting a rhino warrior, but there's a stop sign.
But there's also like a giant semi coming at me.
Yeah, that movie was like that one scene where the guys were all the Halo guys, and they're running through the street, and it's like that is so impractical.
Yeah. Then also like people are just like punching in the air, and how do you just not accidentally punch somebody in the face?
Oh, I'm sure it happened. They just didn't show that part in the movie.
Yeah, that was part of the movie.
This is your future world. Black eyes.
All right, back on inflation. All right, we got a little sidetracked as we tend to do. Is there any relief in sight? Is there any way that that we could probably, I don't know. Is there anything that is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
Right now, no. We're not in a good place. We're not in a good trajectory. I'm not an economist, so I have no idea really how to fix it. But if I were to if someone had to ask me, like someone's like, we need an idea from me right now, I would think that you need to cut the spending back. And I would say be operating at a surplus, like not balance the budget. They need to adjust the budget to where there's a surplus of taxes coming in every year and bring manufacturing jobs, like raw manufacturing, like steel and all that stuff back to the United States. Because
It's not
what?
going to happen though. There's too
Well,
many
I'm
restrictions.
not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if you want to save America and save the economy, that to me, like I think if you're manufacturing raw goods in your country, then same thing with oil and stuff. Like it's a tangible thing that you're creating, and by creating that substance, you're also creating wealth. That kind of stuff generates real currency in the economy because you've created something that's worth something. I think a lot of the problem with the United States is we've kind of gone to this, even though they do ship all these jobs overseas, we've gone to more of like a service style, like we create and design things and then we have somebody else build them. And
Yes.
you're not drumming anything up. I think if we create it, that creates the wealth in the economy because it's new numbers in the currency, it adds to the currency, but there's something tangible there for it. Not like when they print paper, it's not based on anything. It's just like, hey, voila.
Yeah. Well, I mean, manufacturing jobs are. I mean, they left what in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, I don't think there's like that many steel mills left.
No,
Like
government
that.
oversight really destroyed a lot of manufacturing jobs with their restrictions on environmental restrictions and stuff. I mean, I guess it's good, but I mean, it's not.
Well, the problem too, I think I think what Trump might have done, I know he did something with deregulation. I know everybody
He deregulated a lot of the.
Well, but I think a lot of people look at that and it's like, oh my gosh, he's deregulating. He's going to set the planet on fire. I think kind of what he did, because what I've noticed, especially in our industry, a lot of times when they come out with new regulations, they don't get rid of the old ones. So you have like overlapping regulations that eventually build up to where you can't do anything. And I'm wondering, because I don't know for sure, but I'm wondering if that's what he did. He cleaned out all the crap. So it's just like, all right, these are the regulations that fit this. And like I said, nobody wants to kill the planet because we all live here. But like you're still being safe, but like you don't have all this redundancy to where it's like, oh, you can't do this because of this regulation, but you might no, that regulation stops you from doing it. So I think that's really probably what killed me. Well, and stuff going overseas. And who pushed for things going overseas? Joe Biden.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a supply chain issue, so if you make the supplies in house, you wouldn't have that issue.
Well, technically, we still have a supply issue, just like. Well, right now we're going to have a supply issue because I wouldn't say it's necessarily an issue, but I guarantee you there's probably some small time owner operators that are having a hard time filling their trucks. I mean, you got to think if it's costing me close to $200 to fill my truck.
Oh yeah,
Take that time. I mean, I've heard stories like it's $1,000 a tank, and they generally have 2 tanks.
We're releasing 1 million barrels of oil a day, I guess.
Yeah, I think we go through like
Which
10
is
million
only
barrels
like-
a day.
Which is only like less. I think it's less than that. I think it's more than 10 million. I think it's like 30 million we go through. I think it's only 5% of.
I know that I don't know the exact number, but I do know that the whole taking crude or oil out of the reserves is nothing but like, hey, look, I'm doing something, but you're not actually doing it. It doesn't make shit for difference. Like,
I think it lowered the gas prices 3 cents.
killing it.
Boom, suck it, oil.
You know what's funny? I went to Pueblo, Colorado this weekend. Day trip. It's kind of neat. Saw some snow on the top of mountains. But and drove through a lava field. That was kind of random.
What?
It's just like this. So you're driving through Colorado, and it's like plains. But I'm looking around, and it's like all these black rocks, just like piles of them all over through the grass. And Sarah looked it up, and it's like apparently there was a volcano there, like I don't know, thousands of years ago. But it's like all volcanic rock built up everywhere. But Pueblo, Colorado was like the 3rd largest steel manufacturer in the United States. So that was kind of cool, kind of what we were saying. But it was funny how many gas pumps I saw on the way there that had that I did that Biden sticker on it. And those stickers must be permanent because you could tell they were trying to scrape them off and
they just couldn't.
They weren't coming off.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit on the last 2 episodes. I mean, people got to realize that it's the government's fault.
Yeah, it is government's fault, but at the same time, it's also the people that, like, we're a representative government. And I know that some people think that possibly something happened on a certain date in a certain month of November in a year.
January.
No, not January. It was November. But people are upset.
Are you talking about the election? Or?
Yeah, I'm just saying some people might think that there was a thing that happened during the election to where, like, it throws into question on how representative of a representative government we have. But you still have people, you have people voting. So we vote in a representative. So it's like, I was thinking that when I saw that Joe Biden sticker. It's like, I did that. I'm like, did he? Did he though? Because he had to get like voted in to do that.
It should be the 80 million people or 180 million.
I think it was 83 billion.
Well, whatever it was. I mean,
it was an Office moment. I know that. That's the first thing that popped into my head is the movie The Office. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm always bad at the decimal.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I'm not making any allegations. I'm just saying when I saw that all go down, that's the first thing that popped into my head was that scene from The Office when they checked the ATM ballots.
I know my Facebook was filled with pictures of people taking photographs of gas prices and being like, let's see what happens in a year.
Yeah.
Voila. This is what's happening.
Well, and the high gas prices, like that's high gas prices, labor, like the minimum wage and all that, that all is like bottom line stuff that is definitely going to jack the prices up on stuff. Like, it's not good.
It's not good. And it's, I know I had a certain surplus of money towards the end of the month.
Then you spent it all on gumballs.
I did gumballs. And
we all know about your gumball addiction.
Not the beer. But I mean, it's gone down drastically. I mean, just spending for, just good. I mean, just going to the grocery store. What I could spend $100 on a year and a half ago compared to what I can spend $100 on now, it's ridiculous. And I don't even buy meat anymore, because I go through Butcher Box for my meat, and
Must
I
be nice
still
to
pay,
be rich.
Yeah, well,
Unless they want to sponsor us, then it's a great deal.
yeah.
It's
Well,
not
I
bad.
mean, a lot of it. A lot of it. I did it when, during COVID and stuff, when everything was cheap, anyways. Right now.
Yeah.
So I did it then. Now I got a surplus of food because, unlike the government, I like a surplus. So,
And I will say, I did make one of their. I reverse seared one of the New York strips I got from them the other day, and it was
they're
delicious.
This one, I just got one, and the meat did not look as good as it did before. But
Did it taste good though?
I don't know. I haven't had one yet. I'm still on a surplus, buddy.
Oh.
So I eat the old meat.
Well, have you ever gone to a grocery store though, and you look at the meat, and it's like, oh man, this looks super good, and then you cook it, and you cook it perfectly, because that's the only way I know how to cook my steaks. Perfect. But then you eat it, and there's no way you can cut it to where it's not chewy. Like, it's just the piece of meat.
Yeah.
Where the one that I made, now granted, it's my first steak I made out of the...
It melts.
It was wonderful.
I know, it melts.
It was glorious. And it was the first steak I tried that I got from him, because, we just moved. So, I got 2 boxes, and I've only had one steak out of everything that I've gotten.
Everything I've had from it has been fantastic. And,
So it's,
I know,
yeah, it's good.
I hope they sponsor us. That would be super awesome. Or any other food, thing.
Well, we're cheap. We'll just monthly for the food.
Yeah. Monthly subscription thing. If you want to sponsor us, we are total horses, though. That sort of thing. So
don't beat around the bush, Kevin. Tell them what you think.
We can be bought off easily. Yeah. So, but yeah, but what I say though is I'm just buying basic bread, milk, just cleaning supplies, toilet paper, stuff like that, and I'm paying $100 for. I get 3 grocery bags. I'm like, what the shit, America? This is bullshit. My money should go farther.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that, because I definitely can't buy the shiny things with buttons like I normally like to do.
No.
It's I got some stuff I want to buy double of everything I bought to do this totally awesome podcast. Subscribe, comment, review on all of our platforms. But I just can't right now, because a lot of my excess money goes to buying consumables. And not the consumable. That is not why I went to Colorado either. So don't even, no. I went there for a chair. But I meant food, stuff like that. But it's just expensive. Why are you looking at me like that?
Was that chair edible?
No, it was wicker.
Didn't know if you got a few edibles there.
No. I've heard the stories about. I'm actually surprised that because we went to Colorado and drove straight back, I would just assume that we are going to get pulled over.
I don't know if they.
That's a thing.
That hard.
No, they do.
Is it really?
Yeah, but New Mexico just legalized recreational use of the Mary Jane, so they're watching that border now.
So, other than our strategic oil reserve release, how do we lower gas prices? Is there a way?
The only way to do it is to go in the whole we've issued tons of leases, but then you got to do the permitting. Everything that they say in the government always has a caveat. We've released more leases than ever before, but then they don't talk about, well, you have to get the permit to test the land, and not every lease has oil on it. That's why it's always a moving thing. So if you have a government that's issuing leases and permits, and you're moving that engine because oil is based on futures, then the price goes down. We need to do right now where the price is with oil, shelling. If we use shell oil, that is I think. See, last time we got into that, OPEC intentionally flooded the market with cheap crude, and that's how we got that first dip in the fuel prices. Because I think gas has to be around $2.40 something for shell oil to be worth it. Now, I don't know if that's true right now because of inflation. Like, it might be up higher now, but like Shell oil, we just have to be energy independent. And it's like all you people that want your stupid electric cars, I mean, you're going to be strip mining the earth for all the materials to make the damn batteries. Here's always been the problem with technology, and I think you probably noticed this as well, except for the Nokia original cell phone, where you could make your own little custom ringtones, but they were like beep boop 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 beep beep boop.
I love those.
But those phones lasted for a week.
Yeah.
Like, it's Sunday, I better plug my phone in for the next week. But like that's the problem with technology that we've had in general is like technology is like skyrocketing. Battery technology isn't.
Yeah.
And that's because we reverse engineered alien technology but haven't figured out their power source yet. Pretty sure I read that on a bumper sticker, so it's obviously true.
It's oil. I already went through this last week.
No, that's not alien technology, Kevin. That's alien shit.
Alien shit. Yeah, that's right.
It's very special.
But
high in pH.
yeah. Speaking of the oil leases, the Biden administration has stopped. They're not giving any leases to offshore drilling in the Gulf Coast.
Well, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Well, at least until 2023, because they were supposed to do it this year. But gas prices are so low. Why?
Well, yeah.
So they delayed it another year. Because.
Well, and talking about gas prices and everything, like I know that we had a meme shared by a friend that was like, "These are the gas prices of 2008, and they're just as high as they are now." But I remember 2008. I was in Nebraska, and diesel was about. Now back then it was expensive, but it was like $3.80 something. I'm like, diesel better not get over $4 a gallon, or I tell you what, I'm gonna shit my pants. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but but what happened is like, I think they compared California numbers from 2008 to like regular numbers now.
Yeah. Oh, I know. They didn't compare California to California, which was...
Yeah, I guarantee you gas has never been close to damn near $10 a gallon before.
Yeah, I think the gas was like $5. Then all of a sudden on that meme, and like at that time it was like $9 or $6 or $7 at the time.
Yeah, like I don't think that was apples and oranges. I can't stand memes like that. And you see a lot of see, that's another thing. Like, granted, I know I'm random and I jump around the place, but that's when you see these. When they talk about, we need to censor posts and shit on Facebook and Twitter because of all the fake news. For one thing, someone with not even a decent amount, a moderate amount of common sense can tell by the headline whether or not a news story is bullshit. So but both sides do it. It's like, no, you're just weakening your argument, because sooner or later someone's going to be like, that was a lie. Or you like they do with unemployment numbers and everything else. It's like, no, that's skewed or this or that. Like, just be truthful. I mean, if something sucks, then say it sucks and then throw out an idea how to fix it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we just know how to break things.
No, that's true.
But another thing I get a lot was it's corporate greed. Corporations, they don't need to.
What the heck is that anyway? Corporate greed. Oh, they want to make money. Yeah, that's the whole reason you start a business.
And also, I like how corporate greed just started this year.
No, that's been around for a while. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
What I see, like all the billionaires, the 250 billionaires in the U.S. Couldn't touch our budget by 1/6.
Yeah, I don't think people actually realize how much money, funny money, the government actually spends. Like what our budget is.
30 trillion in debt.
I don't know.
That's 1,000 billion, isn't it? A trillion?
I don't know. I know that like your brain can't conceive that many zeros. Like you can't see that many zeros in your brain and be able to like comprehend it. I think the
I'm just
backside of your brain can, we're like, because apparently in your head, like subconsciously when you're doing stuff, your brain's actually doing like calculus and trigonometry and stuff like that. Like anybody. But
I think Elon Musk is worth what, 300 billion or maybe it's 30 billion. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I know he's worth money. He's
Uh,
worth
he's the
more than
richest
I
man.
am.
He's the richest man in the world.
Is he?
Yes.
Good for him. He made a cool billion off of buying Twitter. Or not
Yeah,
buying
because
Twitter, but
buying 9.2% of the stake of Twitter.
I believe
Yes.
it's 9.3. But I've seen a bunch of different memes. I don't know.
Whatever, 9.2, 9.3.
But yeah, him buying that automatically made him $1 billion.
So yeah, so he spent like, I don't know, I think it was like 3 billion. I think he actually made his money back and $1 billion.
Well, didn't he sell his shares of Tesla?
I'm not sure. Yeah, he sold a bunch.
Like I thought, look, here's the weird thing. And I guess one of the cool things about being like he's got Asperger's disease, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing about being an eccentric billionaire. I think he sold his shares of Tesla because like someone dared him to do it. And then I think he bought into Twitter because he was complaining about how Twitter is not a free, like they were originally like, Facebook, you got all your little stuff, but I think Twitter was actually the one that was labeled as the public square. And he said something about that, like how they're not. And so it's like, well, if you don't like it, why don't you buy it? I'm pretty sure that's why he bought 9.3%, making him the largest shareholder in the company, which gives you a lot of throwing around.
Yeah, he's on the board. He's on the board of directors now.
Yeah, did you see that tweet where the president or CEO is like, "Oh, we're looking forward to having Elon on the board," and Elon's like, "Yeah, there's a lot of fixing that needs to get done," or something like that.
Yeah. So, I think he was a big fan of the Babylon Bee, and when they got whatever
Isn't
censored
it a
by
space? No, what is that? That's a.
Babylon. It's like a whatever.
I'm thinking of
funny.
Babylon 5 or some space show.
No, it's what it is. It's like a satire on political issues. Only
No.
it's a right leaning satire. But he's a big fan of it. He's been on it, like done like little skits and shit for it. So he's a big fan of it, and then they got kicked off. I think that also had a thing to do with it because he's like, well,
I'm bringing it back.
These guys are my buddies.
You think he's
So-
gonna be like, you bring Trump back? You think it's gonna happen?
He might. I'm pretty sure he's going to try to make it free space. So,
Well, that will be cool because I think them canceling Trump, don't care if you like him or not. Like I said, you don't have to follow him. You don't have to listen to him. That's with anything on social media. If someone says something stupid, don't follow him. But I think that if they put him back on Twitter, Kevin, that little stock tip he gave me, bringing it up again, is not going to do anything.
Well, I can tell you what. It looks like the Truth Social is not doing well.
I
their
think
main-
I don't know anything about it, and I've done zero research into it, but I just know that it took me forever to get my account activated, or our account. That's right, America. The lost art of common sense is on Truth. They have their own server bank. Like, they're not, from my understanding, like, they're not like, because the reason, like, how Parler got super, like, popular, and everyone's like, I'm going to Parler. It's free,
All
blah,
of a
blah,
sudden,
blah.
Amazon
And Amazon's like,
server.
yeah, I don't think so, sir. Even though there's more shady stuff done on Twitter, but whatever. But I'm pretty sure Truth is like its
Don't you worry
own
about
thing.
them terrorists.
That's right. We ain't gonna worry about terrorists and all this stuff. Or, I guess I was listening to some of Louder Crowder this morning.
There's some sirens going off in the background, so you can hear it. Sorry.
I can't. But great, Kevin. You made me lose my track of thought.
Louder with Crowder.
Before that, what led to that comment?
The Truth
Yeah.
Social.
Yeah.
Then I was opening a beer. I wasn't listening to you. That's why.
Well, now I forgot it, so you're gonna have to go on to something else, and I'll
Yeah,
blurt it out later.
that's why I went to, whatever, man. It's not my fault. You're like a goldfish. You have a.
Well, I'm trying to think of
memory.
what they were talking about. It was relevant, and I just totally forgot it. And it has nothing to do with the fact that we're drinking it. And just so you know, I had somebody say, sometimes you guys seem kind of loose. It's like, okay, I have a tendency to mumble anyway, so it's not from the beer.
Yeah. And I'm always glossy-eyed.
I am working on my enunciation. Now they brought up something I wanted to. They said something I want to talk about, but like, I think Truth actually has their own banks of servers, stuff like that. So like, they're not,
They're not. Yeah, I get it.
they can't be canceled. So like, they're having to constantly readjust to add more people, and having a slow roll like that is not going to help.
No, what they should have done is known that it's going to be something huge and prepared for it. Then delayed it another 6 months,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't
Everybody
know.
would have gone on it no matter what.
Yeah, I know it took forever to get mine.
So I don't think Trump is going to go back on Twitter because that would be kind of a I give up type of thing.
Well, I think he would.
I don't know.
I think he would.
I think he would be more of a
Unless
it'd be
he's
more of a-
actually financially invested in Truth, like I heard he has something to do with it, so that would be counterproductive to his wallet. So
I thought it was his social network.
Yeah, I thought. Well, no, he has something to do with that. I don't know what all. I think.
Well,
I'm
he's
not 100%
invested.
sure.
I think he invested in it.
No,
The thing he has to do with it is his money.
you don't know that.
I'm almost going to say I'm 99% sure that he put his
No, he
money-
has something to do with it. He has something to do with it.
I'm sure he might have something. He's probably on like the board or something.
I don't know. Busy dude. Busy dude. That's another thing
Is
that's
he?
like different. Like, I guess it's good, if you're like, obviously he hasn't announced he's going to run 2024, but it is kind of like I remember when.
I almost hope he doesn't.
Huh?
I almost hope he doesn't.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on where he sits on stuff and stuff like that. It depends on
He's
what.
getting old.
It depends
Getting
on.
old. I don't want a Biden.
Well, that's just it. He'll be what Biden was. Now, granted, he is miles ahead of
Well,
Biden.
as
As far as like decision making,
or just moving and speaking at the same time.
but he will be Biden's age in 2024 as what Biden is when he got elected. So
Yeah, and I think
I think
we've
he
already
could do
had-
it. I mean, the dude's fueled by dragon energy. It's a real thing,
I don't know.
Kevin.
I think I'd rather have.
It
personally,
might
I'd rather
even be
have
an energy
DeSantis.
drink.
I think I'd rather have DeSantis.
I would love to have DeSantis, but he said he doesn't want to run. He's cool with being the governor of Florida.
They always say that shit because he has to get nominated in Florida. Like if he doesn't get nominated again in Florida,
He 100%
he's
will.
basically- Oh, I know, but I mean, if you say you're going to run for president, people are going to be like, so you're only going to be in office for 2 years?
Well, okay, so
So who the fuck's your underling?
I don't know how that works. I don't know if they have a special election or the deputy governor goes in.
Deputy does. Like,
Yep, that's how New York ended up with Little Miss Cult Leader. Don't hear about her much in the.
That's how we.
So
got
there are
Trump.
certain people that you haven't seen in the news lately too, like her, Fauci. I guess because everything's going on about Russia, which I have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe anything the media says. I just know whatever the fuck's happening is not great, and the civilians of Ukraine are paying for whatever it is.
Yeah, like I don't. As far as like, that's why until something actually comes out, this may be the last time we talk about Russia on the show because everything that's coming out of Russia and Ukraine, I don't care if it's coming out of there or our media, none of it makes sense. Like,
No.
whatever we're being told is happening is not happening.
I don't know how bad it is. I mean, how the hell is Zelensky on the Grammys
Yeah.
and Fox News? Like, what the shit, man?
I don't know. I just know it's weird. Like, I don't know exactly what Russia's trying to do, and I know that they have, like, I
I mean,
know
also
back in the
his voice
days.
changed, so
Well, he has like
yeah.
it's because I don't know. He's an actor and all that, but like, so we always think of Russia like Cold War, Soviet Union, big bad Russia. That's why, there's NATO and all that. But like but what they're saying is like their military is basically antiquated. Like there hasn't been a lot of forward movement on their military like ours has, because our military is awesome. Not the ads or the people on the top, but the actual military people. But I don't know. That's why I said I don't know what Putin's doing. Like, it's weird that it's still a thing. You know what I
I
mean?
know they should. I
How
don't
is it
understand
not
how he didn't
over?
roll over them, but I don't. I think it's more. I don't know. It's some kind of grab.
That's
I
what I'm
don't know what
saying.
it is.
It's weird. And then, like, didn't you say like something on Hunter Biden's laptop about was it chemical weapons or I don't know?
I don't know what it was. It was something about chemical. One of the chemicals facilities there, and
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what stinks right now is you can't get any clear things on anything. And I noticed, and I've been paying attention like the last 3 or 4 days on the when I get off work on the way home. And maybe he only does it in the first like 20 minutes, but like Mark Levin's normally on at 5 o'clock, so I'll tune in every single day for at least over a week. All you hear about is Russia, Putin, this or that, and it's like you're saying the same thing every day. And it's like,
yeah,
and nobody knows, and maybe he does, but nobody seems to know what the hell's actually going on. So it's like, well,
no one does because it's just Russia's bad. Ukraine is good right now.
which actually has an
But
active
what's
Nazi party, like a Nazi group
yeah,
in Ukraine. It's weird.
fighting for them.
Like I said,
It's an
everything is weird.
there's a regiment of soldiers that is just nothing but neo Nazis.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no point in
Well, I
like
mean,
we could
it's
just
not like
repeat the crazy shit we've heard. It's like, oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, wait, no, it's this. It's like, you know what? It's going to be like COVID, possibly the 2020 election based on information coming out from states, not making any assertions whatsoever. And
peer reviewed thing. All right, we'll just.
but what I'm saying is like, there's like all these things you're told now, including Hunter Biden's laptop, that later on you find out like what it's actually about or like what the truth is. So it's like, all right, so yep, this is a thing that's happening. It sucks. Like the people dying thing, especially like innocent civilians, stuff like that. That's
civilians
bullshit.
and shit. Yeah,
But like,
like
you can't get
we're not
any clear direction from anybody on what's actually happening.
yeah, I'm not champion for anyone. I mean, I'm not rooting for any party other than the Ukrainian civilians who are dying. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
am
the
not
only
going to cheer
reason.
on the Nazis fighting for Ukraine.
And I'm not going to cheer on this corrupt government. What 2.5 years ago that everybody was said was so goddamn corrupt, and all of a sudden they're the fucking champions of the world. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, that's fucking this ridiculous. I mean, if you want to know how fucking weird or how bad the media is, they're going to say how corrupt this government was, and all of a sudden they're the darlings of the world. I mean, it's ridiculous, and I'm not saying that Putin should win or everybody knows they're corrupt too. I mean, but he's just flat out
Let's not get it twisted. Every freaking country in the world is corrupt, and we are no
oh yeah, our
exception.
government is corrupt
Yeah,
as
no
shit,
exception
so.
whatsoever. I mean, we the ones who install. That's what doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. Maybe it's conspiracy theory. I thought it was common knowledge that we kind of, you know, held a color revolution in Ukraine to get rid of the pro-Russia government, and then we kind of installed the current government, and then we turn around and talk shit about how corrupt said government installed by the United States is.
Yeah, and you wonder why Putin is, he gets a little upset when we start installing governments next to his borders.
Well, I don't know. I heard like he did it because he didn't want a NATO ally next to him, even though they got denied because they're corrupt. Or, and then I heard it had something to do with chemical weapons or some stuff. So it's like you never.
I mean, you can't be in the mind of a madman and pretend you will know his motives. I mean,
Yeah, even people
be
that'll like
because-
think that like some kind of weird.
It could be because he got herpes from a Ukrainian girl. I don't know.
That could be it though. I could see that being a thing.
I'm thinking that's it. Like, he got herpes, and he's like, this will last me for life, so I'm taking your country.
It's like I told you that I would get back at you for giving me the herpes. I went to the doctor. He said I have the herpes, so I take Ukraine.
Yeah. So
That's all it takes. Because the Hershey
They
gave
said
me
he
the
had
herpes.
health problems. Maybe his health problems was on his genitals.
It's like they think it's about COVID. He's like, no, you stay away. I have herpes. I'm having a flare up. Stay back. Because it is weird. Like, they could say, like, Putin's this or that, or he's like, it doesn't matter what he said. The dude doesn't let anybody anywhere near him. And it could be herpes. We don't know. That's just it. We don't know. This could be late breaking right now. The reason that Russia went to war with Ukraine is because Putin got the herpes from someone in Ukraine. Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. I would hope not.
guessing
That would be so mean and just like over the top.
I'm guessing. Listen, I'm not putting anything past him, so I'm saying that.
But the one thing that's like, I don't,
and
like, it doesn't matter what's going on.
Until somebody proves otherwise, that's what I'm going with.
Well, that's fine. But like the one thing that everybody can agree with everything that's going on over there is like the debt, like the fact that innocent civilians are getting caught in with it. That's the part that's like we haven't seen that type of warfare, like this type of warfare that we're seeing over there right now. We haven't seen that since like World War II.
No. Well, he's done it before.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying though. Why is this taking so long? Like I don't like. Granted, the Ukrainians are fighting like hell. I mean, there's some Wolverine fighters over there, but like I just don't understand like how it's like. I thought it would be wrapped like either he was gonna go in a little bit to be like, no, you're not gonna be NATO, and then pull back out, or he's gonna take over the country. But hasn't this been going on for like we're going on 2 months, right?
About a month. Maybe just over 4 weeks, I think.
I think it's over 4 weeks. But either way, it's gone on longer than I thought it would. I mean, kudos to the Ukrainian people.
We're on what, episode 7?
This is episode 7.
I think we talked about it on episode 1, didn't we?
So that would be almost 2 months, Kevin. That means I'm right.
I thought it was just about 4 weeks. Maybe it was. But yeah, he's attacked civilian areas before. In '99, when he took over, well, basically made like a puppet government.
Well, he's not like he's a KGB. Like, isn't he an ex-KGB agent?
Like Bolivia or something, or Botswana? Or, I don't know. Well,
the only thing I know for sure is he attacked Georgia.
Yeah, he's attacked.
That would not be Georgia in the United States.
Yeah, no.
I'm not getting fact checked for that shit. The one to the southern border of the actual Russian country. That Georgia.
Yeah, well, there's another country he attacked in '99 that he took over and installed his own government.
Well, he's not a nice person. Like, he's an ex-KGB agent.
And the reason he won that war was because he started attacking civilians. And they're like, okay, well, stop. So we give up, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things where it's better just like talk about, I guess, after it's done. And then like after it's done, and then after we find out what actually happened after it's done, which is not going to be happening right away. Am I wrong, Kevin? Am I?
You are not. You are not.
I didn't think so. I did not think so.
I don't think he's going to stop until there's this. He wants something. I just don't know what the hell he wants.
That's what's weird about it.
I don't think he wants the country of Ukraine actually a part of Russia. I think he wants either a part of it for some reason, or for either maybe a regime change or whatever.
Well, and isn't that I know we were talking about this before. Doesn't that new pipeline run through Ukraine? That's the only thing I could think of, like, strategically.
The Keystone, or not
Keystone. That's in America, silly.
Yeah, well, that's not. Well, the XL part, ain't it?
I don't remember what it's called. Anymore. That's because we're not news pundits.
Nord Stream. The Nordstrom.
Nord
Stream.
Yeah.
2.
Nord Stream 2. 1. But I think that might have had something to do. But nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Because I know Well, and I know like that I heard somebody talking about like comparing Russia, like this is how it went in Afghanistan and stuff like that. And that's why it doesn't make sense to me why this has gone on as long, because it's not like they're fighting in a foreign land where they don't understand the terrain, they don't understand the people, where the people have a better understanding. Ukraine used to be part of the USSR.
Yeah,
So
no,
like I don't know.
yeah,
It'll be interesting
it's
to
not.
find out what is actually going on, what the motivations are, and then at the end of the day, when it's all settled, whoever people need to have their ass handed to them, over doing this.
It
But
wasn't when like Germany tried to fight in Russia, and all of a sudden, the weather and the snow and the cold pretty much stopped them.
yeah, that's why comparing Russia like how they did to any other country doesn't make any sense, because this is like basically like fighting in their own backyard with technically their own people. Like
Yeah,
they speak Russian in Ukraine?
there's parts of Russia.
Like
I
there's
don't know,
parts of it
maybe.
like they basically consider themselves Russians. But what
Yes,
I'm saying is like it's not like they're going halfway across the world and fighting. So it's just weird. It's just
it
weird.
is weird.
Um, this is one thing I did hear about, and I heard on the news. I wanted to ask you about. Have you heard about like now that kids are getting back to school? There's like a huge uptick, like huge, and basically kids being mean, being suicidal, uh, just like
Like a mental health uptick.
yeah, like they're just acting out. It's like I obviously it's uh, because of COVID, but like kids are now coming back to school, and like all these people are noticing this huge increase, and like just kids being mean to each other, suicidal thoughts are up, violence amongst students are up, all that stuff.
I don't want to say that somebody or people predicted this, but people predicted this. Um, you can't just keep kids at home, unsocialized, uh, not interacting with other kids their age, not being able to see their face. That's how people interact, uh, and not have some kind of mental repercussions from that. It's everybody wanted to pretend that we were trying to save the children when we did nothing but harm the children. Children were the least susceptible to COVID, yet there are still children in New York who are masked up. Um, and I don't care who you are, if you don't listen to us ever again, I care less. That shit was dumb. All right. You
Agreed.
perpetuated you perpetuated a myth and wanted to act like you were trying to save somebody that didn't need saving. All you did was harm them, and these are the repercussions that are happening. There's suicide rates are up, mental health, depression's higher. Like you said, kids are acting out, and it's for one reason: is for people to fucking virtue signal that they cared about the children when they didn't give a shit about children. So y'all can fuck off if you're part of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like all the behavioral issues, all the suicidal thoughts, all the problems that are happening, I guess you would say socially, like social development. I may have just made up another word. I'm gonna roll with it. That is 100% the fault of the adults in charge that did all this crap to the kids. Because, like you said, we learned super early that they were not the ones at high risk, and we completely handicapped the, the social development of 2 years and still going, like you said, of kids, and that's horseshit.
That's because I'm sorry. Also, if your teacher unions are bullshit, what they did, especially in some of these blue states, is they held hostage to kids so they can get teachers paid without having to go to school. Because I don't know the reasoning. Because teachers still worked. I mean, they had to do. I mean, they had online classes and shit. So I don't know the reason they didn't want to go back to school. If it was, but I mean, teachers unions held kids hostage. So especially in like Illinois, New York, the main teachers union. I can't remember.
That was a national one, wasn't it?
Ryan Gardner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Weingartner or Weingartner or whatever. I don't. If that's not her name, then
Yeah, I would say most of the problem with that came back from the teachers union. I'm not trying to. Now there are some, just based on what I've seen on. I don't watch TikTok. I've seen other. I hate. I don't. I have the app. I'm never gonna have it. But I've seen other people's videos that they've shared from TikTok. There are some weird teachers out there. But I'm not like. I don't think the problem was like in general the teachers. It does seem like it was a teachers union fighting for all this weird stuff like the, like, oh, we're at risk of like they. So I thought we learned pretty early on that kids don't really get sick from it and they don't spread it. Yet their excuse for not going back to work is they didn't want to take a chance of getting it.
even after the vaccinations came out, even after the first vax came out, they still did not want their teachers to go back to school, and I don't understand why. And if somebody can enlighten me why that reason was, please do. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't because of health. It was because I don't
think
know.
we
I can't
can
figure it out.
I think we can say that
I'm sure it's about money.
well, but I think we can say that the fact that the teachers union did all that stuff, that it was actually a blessing because that actually woke parents up to some of the bullshit that some of the kids in this country are being taught, which is what caused the influx of parents going into, the school board meetings and then parents getting labeled as domestic terrorists because they're like, hey, I don't want you teaching my kid bullshit. You're a terrorist, So, I mean, that part of it, horrible for the kids. Like these, I'm telling you, there's going to be repercussions for years because you just cut from the time that you're born until you're about 25, you're constantly developing. Like you don't become who you are mentally as an adult until around 25. That's when your brain stops forming. So like you can't just cut a year or 2 years out of somebody's development and be like, "Oh, there's not going to be any problems at all." So like that is a huge cost to pay, but at least like that's how this stuff happens. That's how that's like the Florida bill that they were talking about. It's like that's how they do it.
I saw this one teacher. I think I was watching something, and this one teacher was like, "Hey, I can't tell my kids what I did this weekend with my partner kayaking or whatever." I'm like, it is a kindergarten teacher. I'm like, I don't remember what the shit I don't think my kindergarten teacher ever told me what they did on the weekend. It was, hey, red block, green circle, put it in the goddamn box, and don't be an idiot, put it in the right hole.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I heard the same thing, and I was like, and I'm thinking like all the way up through high school, I had zero idea what my teachers did on their personal life. You know why? Because I went to school to learn stuff to become a functional adult.
I went to school to learn stuff. I learned very little.
Well, no, that's why my parents sent me to school. That was the original purpose of going to an educational institution provided to us by the government, which is also provided by taxes because the government doesn't actually have anything. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like that's what.
Which I'm thinking.
They're like, well, what do I do if they ask me about what I did? I'm like, why are you talking to a kindergartner about what you did on the weekend? Period.
How happy would somebody be if a teacher told a third grader why being straight is awesome?
I just don't understand why it's a thing. Like that's
or
that's the whole thing. Like why is that a topic?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a topic at all. It shouldn't be gay, straight, trans, what political affiliation you're with, or anything that you do on the weekend. You should be learning how to read, write, and do arithmetic from K through 3. And your colors
and numbers.
Yeah, well, yeah, just like
you probably already covered the numbers.
Shit
but it's just both.
That's your prime. That's your prime learning years. That's when you get your motor skills, your prime development. And if you're going to say, hey, you might not be a boy or you might not be a girl, that's just going to stick.
Well, and like they say, and I don't know, we may begrudgingly have an episode about all that stuff, but like they say, like sometimes the parents don't want to talk about it. Well, it's their kid. It's their kid at the end of the day. It is not your responsibility to do a damn thing the parent doesn't want.
There's plenty of other places other than school that kids can find out shit about. I mean, if their parents won't talk about it, there's online, there's groups. I mean, they don't have to learn about this shit at school. You know, even if there's a social club outside, you know, I don't even mind that. As long as it's outside the school hours and school curriculum, whatever.
And the parents know
but
about it.
Shouldn't be. Yeah, and the parents know about it. But, I mean, if your kids join a social club or whatever, they're going to know about it.
Well, maybe. Or you could be like, could
or
be
they
a
can
shake and
lie,
bake
whatever.
moment, Kevin. That could be a shake
I'm
and
just
bake
saying,
moment.
well, it could be, but
I'm going over my friends to have blah, 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 and they're actually going to some club that their parents don't know about.
I mean, if the teachers have to lie about what they're teaching your kids or telling your kids,
messed up.
then, you know, then there's something wrong with it. Then there's some other agenda other than just innocence. You know?
Yeah, when teachers have to start like hiding stuff and like they're hiding stuff from the parents about like same thing with the vaccines and stuff, like they're allowing people to vaccinate kids without their parents knowing. Like, I don't care if you want to get vaccinated or not. I don't care if you are vaccinated because I will never ask you because I don't care. But like,
give two shits.
If your child is if the child is under the age of 18, these things they passed about like, and they did give kids vaccinations without their parents knowing about it. It's like, man, and I think that's where the far left really messed up. Once you start messing with people's kids, that's when it happens. So,
and that's the problem is it's not Democrats. I mean, it's some Democrats, but it's the far left that's doing this shit. And I mean, they're the reason that in the midterms you're going to have a Republican-controlled Senate and House,
unless we have another office moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they got
to.
I don't know, and that's what. But you know, it doesn't matter because if nothing changes, then if it's just another pause point, I'm going to be pissed. And it doesn't. It needs to be a stop and walk it back.
Here's what happens. I mean, every time fucking Republicans get the House and Senate, is nothing's going to get changed, nothing's going to get done, and we're basically just going to sit there making sure that Biden can't do anything.
But that's how
which isn't enough for right
now.
now.
It is, but like
but
it's
not
not
going to pass anything.
It is, but like
no, they should be passing.
You know,
there should be more Republicans that are like Ron DeSantis in government.
Every Republican should be like Ron DeSantis.
Not just like Trump and DeSantis, like high offices, but there should be congressmen and congresswomen, that should be looking out. And this is probably the most right we've ever actually exposed ourselves to be.
Maybe. Okay. Well, Okay. So here's what I.
But they get shit done, even if you don't agree with it. If you're a Republican, I mean, at least they get shit done, you know.
Yeah, I think there's I'm not expecting everybody to be. Here's what I want. I don't want someone to be.
What we don't want is Mitt Romney. I don't want Mitt Romney
worst
in there anymore. You know, I don't want that Republican because
he's not a Republican.
He's a piece of shit. No, yeah.
You know the funny thing? Here's a funny tidbit. I don't know if you realize this, but you know how I'm assuming you heard that he's going to vote for what's her face for the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
he voted against her for being a district federal judge.
Last year.
It's like, well, back then, you know, I might have been a little racist, but I'm not racist now.
I don't know what is going on. Is it because it's more public?
That's exactly what it is. Because like you never hear about district federal judge
and
appointments.
This bullshit that Republicans are doing this because they're racist is horseshit. Because they try to get a black woman in 2006 in the Supreme Court, and every Democrat voted against her.
Well, that's what the Democrats do because they're not there.
They also voted against every, like when Clarence Thomas was in.
Oh man, did you see how many times Biden dropped the N-word with a hard R?
Oh,
Look that up.
So I just want to let you know
that is never okay.
This shit has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with anything. Usually, it just has everything to do with it's not your candidate or their candidate.
That's what I'm saying. The country's become so divided that it's a real problem.
Yeah, and you're never going to find out what their true agendas are or what they truly believe because no candidate ever responds accurately.
Well,
I mean,
and
they just respond in the most vague effing way, like your politicians, and this is why our government effing sucks sometimes.
well, and I don't care like how you feel about it. If you set it out to where you didn't know her gender or her race, and they asked questions, she gave answers, you would know she's not qualified for this job, and she has no business being a Supreme Court justice.
If you don't know what a gender is and you're soft on pedophiles, you should not be a Supreme Court.
Yeah, because I hate
justice.
to break it to you, unless they're like X and Y and XX chromosomes, and that's what determines your gender. Like as in like let's say you dig up a body from 1,000 years ago and they check the DNA. There's not a whole lot they can tell from you, but they can sure as hell tell what gender they were.
Yeah.
So like
Unless
that's like there's like I don't know. It's like I'm not a biologist. So if they can figure out how to change your chromosomes, then yeah, you could probably change sexes. I mean, because then you couldn't tell on the
mic. You have to change it through your whole DNA.
I'm just saying, you never know. We have little drones now you can fly around, so that could be a thing.
I don't even know how they.
I see.
I don't even know things.
I don't know.
We
live in a weird world, Kevin.
We'll get into that episode here soon.
When we really want to get kicked off all the internet things.
Yeah, when you want to just watch us on Rumble, that's when we'll do the
That's why we always have a backup. Because you never know, we might say something stupid. I don't think we said anything stupid.
We might not. This whole thing might not make it on Twitter or YouTube. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think we're big enough to get censored like that.
No, they don't care how big you are. I don't think we said anything that controversial.
I don't know. I went off about kids there for a while.
How dare you talk about protecting kids, you bastard? How dare you?
I'm just saying, and we went a little right there for a while.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, though, there's a blurred line about what's right, middle of the road, whatever. It's like you're either over here. This is my left hand, by the way. Or you're right. It's like if you fall, even if you're over here, but you're not over here, you're right. So I don't know. It's hard to tell anymore. I know that the spectrum of the Republican Party has gotten pretty wide lately.
It has. And, all right, we're coming up at 110 minutes, or an hour and 10 minutes. 110. An hour and 10 minutes. Let's end this thing.
You need to go back to school, learn your numbers.
Well, I was learning gender stuff. So we're at over an hour. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this was The Lost Art of Common Sense. Thanks, everybody, and see you next week. Ow, 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 ow.